My name is Sara Minelli. I am a program officer at the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. In this short video, I will present the reporting requirements related to Strategic Objective 2, 3 and 4 of the 2018-2030 UNCCD Strategic Framework. Let's start with the Strategic Objective 2. This strategic objective deals with the well-being of populations. The first indicator adopted by the Conference of the Parties to report on progress towards this objective estimates the well-being of population in monetary terms. Two metrics can be used for this purpose according to country-specific circumstances. The proportion of population below the international poverty line is generally considered relevant to less developed countries, where extreme poverty is a core development challenge, whereas income inequality is a useful metric for both low-income and middle-income countries. It estimates the extent to which the distribution of income among individuals or households deviates from a perfectly equal distribution. Countries can decide which metric they would like to use for reporting, and since the reporting template will not be pre-populated for this strategic objective, countries can refer to readily available data sources. Indeed, the proportion of population living below the international poverty line is also an SDG indicator. It's number 1.1.1. Data are therefore maintained by the World Bank, but can also be accessed and downloaded directly from the SDG database. Income inequality is not an SDG indicator, but data are accessible and can be downloaded from the World Bank website directly. The second indicator adopted by the Conference of the Parties addresses the accessibility, availability, and quality of water as a key determinant to human well-being. The WHO-UNICEF Joint Monitoring Programme for Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene has produced regular estimates of national, regional and global progress on drinking water since 1990. The proportion of population using safely managed drinking water sources is also an SDG indicator. It's number 6.1.1. And safely managed drinking water is defined as drinking water from an improved water source that is 1, located on premises, 2, available when needed, and 3, free from contamination. Data for this indicator can be accessed directly from the SDG database, where disaggregated estimates for urban and rural populations are available. In the second section of this presentation, I will present the reporting requirements related to Strategic Objective 3. Strategic Objective 3 addresses drought, particularly the need to mitigate, adapt to, and manage the effect of drought in order to enhance resilience of vulnerable populations and ecosystems. This strategic objective was newly introduced in the UNCCD 2018-2030 Strategic Framework recently adopted by the Conference of the Parties. As a result, currently there is no progress indicator agreed upon to report on progress towards this objective. Parties requested the Committee on Science and Technology to advise on the establishment of a specific indicator for this objective. Meanwhile, however, parties are encouraged to indicate in their report which drought indicator they are using. For those countries that have not yet determined which indicators to use, the WMO has compiled a handbook of drought indicators and indexes, which provide guidance for the selection of appropriate indicators. This is how the reporting templates look like. Country can list which indicators they are using and can provide a simple qualitative assessment of trends. Strategic Objective 4 addresses the global environmental benefits that can be generated through the implementation of the UNCCD, including biodiversity-related benefits. The metric originally adopted by the Conference of the Parties to track progress towards this objective was the Global Wild Bird Index. However, the UNCCD 2018-2030 Strategic Framework provides for the possibility to review and fine-tune the indicators and associated metrics as necessary, especially in consideration of the indicators adopted for the Sustainable Development Goals by the other Rio Convention or other relevant multilateral environmental agreements. The scope is to improve synergies and avoid duplication. Based on this consideration, it is recommended that the Red List Index be used as metric for reporting. Why the Red List Index? Because this index has also been adopted as SDG Indicator 15.5.1 and is also one of the indicators used to track progress towards the Aichi biodiversity targets under the Convention on Biological Diversity. The Red List Index estimates the change in the extinction risk across groups of species. Its values can range from 0 to 1, where 0 represents the maximum possible contribution to the global index, meaning all species in the region are classified as extinct. 1 represents the minimum contribution to the global index, meaning all species in the region are classified as least concern. Since this is an SDG indicator, data is readily available for download from the SDG database. In this fourth and last section of my presentation, I will present complementary information on some additional requirements related to the strategic objective of the 2018-2030 strategic framework. Countries are encouraged to report about any voluntary target they may have set in relation to strategic objective 2, 3, and 4, indicating the expected year of achievement and the level of application, and therefore whether these are national or subnational targets. An example, for instance, of a target that could be set for a strategic objective 2 is a 10% decrease in the proportion of population living below the international poverty line by 2030. Countries can also provide complementary information indicating whether the targets have been adopted or officially endorsed, and if yes, by which body. Furthermore, the reporting template contains a section to report on additional indicators. Land degradation and desertification are well-known global phenomena that manifest locally in very different ways. A typical example could be salinization, which is a big issue in certain countries but is not as relevant in others. Countries, therefore, are encouraged to identify complementary indicators that address their national and subnational specificities and that can also strengthen the implementation of the common global indicators. At the national level, process indicator as well can be used to monitor action taken and thus estimate progress in implementation. Additional indicator can be both qualitative and quantitative in nature. I invite you to send us any question you may have through our help desk for UNCCD reporting that can be accessed via this link and through our prize portal.